we get to go back to the Arctic today for language development. Now, remember we talked about we have to wear a really heavy coat. What's that coat called?
Parka.
A parka. So we have to wear our parka just like if we were going to live here, but we don't need one like a parka. A parka is really, really heavy. So to live here, we wouldn't need one that heavy. But maybe boys and girls where you are, you would need one like that, a big, heavy parka. And we'd need those mucklucks that we wear on our hands.
No, our feet.
On our feet, that's right, to help us in the snow. But God made animals that live in the Arctic with special kind of feet, like remember this one right here, the Arctic hare? Remember God gave him what kind of feet?
Big, gigantic feet.
Yes, big, gigantic feet to help him so he could walk in the snow without sinking down deep. Remember in our last lesson we talked about the musk oxen? Remember it looked like he had socks, but they're not socks. What are those called? Remember those hooves. What were they called? Hooves. His hooves were able to help him to walk in the snow as well. Well, we're going to learn about some more animals today in the Arctic. So let's look right here. I see an owl. Look at that beautiful owl. Isn't he pretty? He's called the snowy owl. Say his name.
Snowy owl.
The snowy owl. Probably God named him the snowy owl because he is white like the snow. Again, it helps him to be camouflaged to protect himself in the snow so that other animals won't try to eat him. Now, the snowy animal, does he have fur all over him? No, because he's what? What kind of animal is he? He's a
owl.
Well, he is an owl, but do you know he's part of the bird family? He's a bird. If he is a bird, that means he has what all over his body?
Fur.
Not fur. He has
Tail.
He does have wings.
Feathers.
Feathers, yes. And I heard the boys and girls watching say he has feathers on him. Now, he's got nice, beautiful white feathers. And do you know that God made his feathers be like a circle around his face? When they grow, they don't grow long like feathers on like the way the feathers grow on a regular bird, but on his body they do. But around his face, the feathers are in a circle. So if one fell out and you found it, it would be in the shape of a circle. That circle grows like that because it's on his face so that he could still see. And those circles cover his ears so that his ears don't get so cold. But so that his eyes can see, because his eyes are in the front. Some birds, their eyes are almost to the side of them. Most of them, their eyes are back here on the side. But the owls, their eyes are right here. So God made it so that the feathers wouldn't grow so long and straight like a regular feather. They grow in a circle so that they can see. And there's lots of other fun things about the owl. Do you know that the owl's muscle in their neck can make it so that their head can turn around all the way around? Now, my sister can only go like this. Look, I can only go about this much before it starts to hurt. And I can go only about this much. You try it. Turn to this way. Now turn this way. See? Now some of you, you're going like this, so you're turning your whole body. You can't turn your whole body, just your head. Now, you can't make your head go all the way around and look completely all the way around. But do you know that the owl can? God made the owl have muscles in his neck so that his head can turn almost all the way completely around so that he can see behind him. So that if something came up behind him, maybe to try to eat him, he would be able to see him and be able to fly away. He could. Isn't that neat how the owl can it almost looks like his head can spin around. It doesn't completely spin around, but it almost does. That's pretty neat about the owl. Now, the owl has a little beak. Some birds have really long beaks, and some have really little beaks. And remember, we talked about how some birds have those beaks that are almost like a straw so they can drink the what?
Juice.
The juice or the nectar, that's right. Well, God gave the owl a little tiny beak so that he can eat things like insects and other fish and little tiny other birds and things like that he can eat. But I want to talk to you about another bird. Do you see this bird way up here with these long wings right here? This is called the Arctic tern. Say that with me.
Arctic tern.
The Arctic tern. Now, the Arctic tern, he is white as well. Now, he is like a seagull. Have you ever been to the beach and see those birds that are flying around at the beach? And those are called seagulls. seagulls. Now, he's like a seagull because he can do like a seagull can. When they like to hover around the water. And when they see fish kind of popping around or they can see the fish swimming, they will do like a seagull will do. They will dive down and grab that fish and eat it. They grab them with their beaks and eat them and then come right back up again. So they're kind of like the seagull, how they do that. They like dive down, get their food, and come right back up again. Now, the Arctic tern, their faces are black, so it's almost like they have a mask on. It's like kind of like the raccoons. You know, the raccoons kind of look like they're little robbers. Well, they have a mask on their face. So it's like they're out hunting too with their mask on, and they go down and they dive in and they get their food. So the Arctic tern is white, but he has a mask on his face. What does he have? It's like a mask because his feathers are black on his face right there. And his little bill is just, it's dark, but his bill, look, it's like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's orange, but his face is black. So it looks like he has a little mask. These two animals live in the Arctic. Now, here's something neat about the Arctic tern. Do you know that, see, those wings are so long, and they can fly so long and so fast that they can fly all the way from the Arctic all the way to Antarctica. So they can go from the top all the way to the bottom. That's a long way. Remember how we talked about here's the United States, and then here is Canada, and here is the Arctic, and then here's all this other stuff that we talked about, all the other parts of the world. Well, they can fly all the way from up here and fly, and they can just keep going and going and going and going. And they can do that. They can fly. So when it's really super cold up in the Arctic, maybe it's just way too cold for them sometimes. They will fly and go to Antarctica. But do you know what? It's still cold in Antarctica. It is. But the Arctic is really frigid. It really is. But they do. They like to travel like that. And they will travel together. And they will travel all together. And sometimes maybe you've seen when you're driving to school, maybe you will see like a whole flock. That's what they call like birds when they fly together. It's called a flock. And they will fly together. So maybe you've seen lots of birds flying in the air and you'll see them. They're flying together. And they will fly together wherever they're going to look for food. Or maybe they're flying from the Arctic all the way to Antarctica. Isn't that neat that they like to do that? I don't know. Me, I'm just going like this to show you, and my arms are getting tired. I can't even imagine how they can do it. But that's how God made them. God made them to be able to do that. So I don't think they get tired. I think it's just easy for them. But for me, that's too hard. I don't think we could do it. That would be really too hard. But that's probably why God didn't give us wings. He didn't. He gave the birds wings. So today we've learned about the Arctic tern. What is it called? And his face has black feathers, so it's almost like he's wearing a what?
Mask.
A mask, that's right. And the owl, the snowy owl, what can he do with his neck? He can do what?
Twist it all, the whole finger around.
Yes, he can turn his, yes, he can twist his head all the way, or almost all the way around so that he can see behind him. And how does his feathers grow around his face? In a what?
Circle.
In a circle, that's right. It's fun to learn about different animals in different places. Oh, this was so fun to learn about the owl and the Arctic tern. I can't wait to find out what we're going to learn about in our next lesson.